What if I told you the best chainsaw ever built wasn't a Stihl and it wasn't a Husqvarna? For over 50 years, one Japanese company has quietly built saws that pros swear by, weekend warriors trust, and loggers flat out refuse to retire. Some are so light you'll forget they're running. One is so brutal it'll chew through a 36-inch oak like wet cardboard. These are the 10 greatest Echo chainsaws ever made. Let's count them down. Number 10. Echo CS-2511T. We're kicking things off up in the trees. The CS-2511T is a top-handled chainsaw, which means it's designed to be run with one hand while you're roped into a canopy 50 feet off the ground. And for that job, this little saw is a legend. Under the hood, you've got a 26.9 cc two-stroke engine, and the whole thing tips the scales at just 6.6 pounds without the bar and chain. That's genuinely featherweight. When you're hanging in a harness making overhead cuts all day, every ounce matters, and the 2711T is light enough that your forearm doesn't turn to jelly by lunchtime. It runs a compact 12-inch bar, which is exactly what you want for precision limbing and pruning. You're not felling redwoods with this thing, and it's not trying to. What it does is slice clean through branches and small limbs with the kind of control that arborists obsess over. It's got a digital ignition system for reliable starts, a side access chain tensioner so you can snug up the chain without hunting for tools, and a clutch-driven automatic oiler that only feeds oil when the chain is actually spinning, so you're not wasting bar oil every time you idle. Homeowners love this saw too because it doubles as the perfect one-handed brush and fence row saw. It's balanced, it's nimble, and it's tough. Reviewers who've owned one for years describe it as the little saw that just won't quit. So why is it only number 10? Because it's specialized. It's brilliant at what it does, but its 12-inch bar and small engine put a ceiling on it. It earns its spot on this list by being one of the most refined compact saws Echo has ever engineered. But the machines climbing up this countdown do bigger, meaner work. Still, if you're an arborist, the 2711T might be the single most used saw on your truck. Number 9. Echo CS-2511T. If the last saw was light, this one is almost unbelievable. The CS-2511T isn't just a good top-handle saw. When Echo released it, it was the lightest gas-powered top-handle chainsaw you could buy anywhere on the planet. Get this, the power head weighs about 5.2 pounds. That's roughly the weight of a bag of sugar with an engine strapped to it. For arborists, that number is pure magic. Fatigue is the enemy when you're climbing, and shaving even half a pound off a saw you're holding overhead for hours is the difference between finishing strong and finishing wrecked. It's powered by a 25cc engine, and here's where it gets clever. A lot of ultralight saws force you into a tiny fragile chain to save weight. The 2511T doesn't. It runs a standard .050 gauge chain, so you can throw a 12-inch or even a 14-inch bar on it and it'll pull it. That flexibility is a big deal because it means one tiny saw can handle a surprising range of work. Owners consistently say the same thing: it punches way above its weight. One professional arborist online, a self-described die-hard Stihl guy, admitted he had to buy one when it launched and said it runs like a banshee and far exceeded my expectations. When a loyalist to a rival brand says that out loud, you know the engineering is real. It's got a fine grid starter cover to keep debris out of the mechanism, an automatic fast idle choke for easy starting, and that same clutch-driven oiler Echo builds into its climbing saws. Now, it won't outmuscle the bigger top handles on raw power. It's built for finesse, not felling, but for the sheer achievement of packing usable, respectable cutting power into the lightest gas top handle ever made. The CS-2511T absolutely earns number 9. It's a masterclass in doing more with less. Number 8. Echo CS-310. Now let's come back down to earth, literally, with the saw that probably lives in more American garages than any other on this list. The CS-310 is Echo's go-to lightweight homeowner saw, and it has earned a cult following the honest way, by never letting people down. It runs a 30.5cc engine and weighs right around 8.8 pounds. It'll take a 14-inch or 16-inch bar, which covers the vast majority of what a normal homeowner ever needs to do: cutting firewood, limbing storm damage, taking down small trees, cleaning up the yard after a windy night. The feature people rave about is the i30 starting system. Echo built this to reduce the effort it takes to pull the starter rope by about 30%. If you've ever fought with a stubborn pull-start saw on a cold morning, yanking until your shoulder aches, you understand exactly why that matters. The 310 fires up easy, and it keeps firing up easy for years. Read the owner reviews and a pattern jumps out. People talk about using this saw hard for 3, 4, 5 years before anything needing replacement. One owner described cutting down a tree nearly 4 feet wide, plus an 18-inch pine, plus years of oak and general yard work before the clutch finally needed attention. For a homeowner class saw, that's outstanding durability. It's not a professional felling saw, and it doesn't pretend to be. What it is dependable, light, easy to start, and easy to live with. It's the saw you hand to someone who's a little nervous about chainsaws, and by the end of the afternoon, they're comfortable and grinning. Value, reliability, and approachability are why the CS-310 sits at number 8. It might be the perfect first chainsaw, and for a huge number of people, it's the only chainsaw they'll ever need. Number 7. Echo CS-355T. Back into the trees, but this time with muscle. The CS-355T holds a special title in Echo's lineup. It's the most powerful top-handle chainsaw the company has ever built. It carries a 35.8cc professional-grade engine and still keeps the weight down to about 8 pounds. Echo specifically claimed this saw delivered around 25% more power than the model it replaced, the CS-360T. That's a serious jump, and you feel it in the wood. Here's the detail that makes the 355T special. Echo designed it with direct input from professional arborists. That shows up everywhere. The handle is contoured to fit your hand and angled to keep your wrist in a natural position while you cut, which cuts down on strain during long days in the canopy. There's a palm rest that gives you leverage and support. It's the kind of thoughtful ergonomic work that only happens when the people who use the tool for a living are in the room during the design. It takes 14-inch and 16-inch bars, giving it more reach and more cutting capacity than the smaller top handles we've covered. It's got the reduced effort spring assist starting system, a clutch-driven adjustable oiler, the G-Force air pre-cleaner that spins dirt out before it ever reaches the filter, and a lanyard ring on the back so you can clip it straight to your climbing harness. This is a saw for tree service professionals who need real cutting power up high, not just precision. When you've got a big limb to remove and you need it gone fast, the extra displacement earns its keep. The CS-355T lands at number 7 because it perfectly bridges two worlds: the featherweight agility of a climbing saw and the genuine grunt of something bigger. For arborists doing heavy limbing overhead, this is arguably the best top-handle saw Echo has ever made. Number 6. Echo CS-400i. Now we hit the saw that, for a huge slice of the market, is simply the Echo. The CS-400 is the workhorse all-rounder, the mid-size gas saw that does a bit of everything and does it well. It's built around a 40.2cc engine and runs 16-inch or 18-inch bars. That puts it right in the sweet spot for property owners, farmers, and anyone who cuts a decent amount of firewood but doesn't need a full professional logging saw. It weighs around 10 pounds, so it's substantial enough to bury a bar in a log, but not so heavy that it beats you up. The 400 comes loaded with the features that make Echo saws so easy to live with. You get the i30 reduced effort starter for easy pulls, the G-Force engine air pre-cleaner that extends the life of your air filter by spinning debris out before it hits the media, an automatic adjustable oiler you can tune to your cutting conditions, and toolless access to keep maintenance quick. What makes this saw great isn't any single headline spec, it's balance. It has enough power to cut down real trees and buck them into firewood. It's light enough to carry around a property all day, and it's reliable enough that people keep them running for a decade or more. Echo's decision to keep it simple and rugged means there's very little to go wrong. If you look at the Echo bar and chain compatibility charts, the CS-400 sits in a whole family of saws that share the same 3/8-inch pitch, .050 gauge setup which tells you how central this class of machine is to the entire lineup. It's the backbone. The CS-400 earns number 6 because it's the definition of just the right saw for most people. It's not the lightest, it's not the most powerful, but it might be the most sensible chainsaw Echo has ever sold. For the average landowner, this is the one that quietly does the work, year after year. Number 5. eFORCE DCS-5000. Time for a plot twist, because number 5 doesn't burn a drop of gasoline. The DCS-5000 is part of Echo's eFORCE 56-volt battery platform, and it represents something important, proof that Echo isn't stuck in the two-stroke past. For years, battery chainsaws were a compromise. Fine for trimming, useless for real work. The DCS-5000 was Echo's answer to that reputation. It's an 18-inch rear handle saw driven by a brushless motor, and Echo rates it for up to 200 cuts on a single charge. That's not a trimming tool. That's a saw you can take out to buck up a real pile of firewood. The brushless motor is the key. Brushless designs run cooler, last longer, and deliver power more efficiently. And Echo tuned this one to feel gas-like when it bites into wood. And here's the part people always underestimate until they try it. It's quiet, and it produces zero exhaust fumes. If you've ever run a gas saw in a closed yard, in a garage doorway, or early on a Sunday morning when you don't want to wake the whole street, the difference is night and day. You just pull the trigger and cut. No mixing fuel, no yanking a cord, no fumes in your face. It's packed with real-world features too. A metal bumper spike for control and leverage, a flip-lever oil cap for fast refills, a side-access chain tensioner, integrated onboard tool storage, and a translucent oil tank so you can check your levels at a glance. It's honest about its limits. Push it hard into a big hardwood and like any battery saw, it can slow down, and runtime depends on how tough the wood is. But for a homeowner or even a pro doing lighter duty work, the convenience is a revelation. The DCS-5000 makes number 5, not just for what it is, but for what it signals. It's Echo planting a flag in the future of cutting, cordless, clean, quiet, and finally powerful enough to be taken seriously. Number 4. CS-490. Now we get into the heavy hitters, and the CS-490 kicks off the top 4 with a spec that made a lot of competitors nervous. It's the lightest weight saw in its class. We're talking about a 50.2cc professional-grade engine wrapped in a body that weighs just 10.6 pounds. Think about that for a second. 50 cubic centimeters of two-stroke power, and it weighs barely more than the homeowner class 30cc saws we talked about earlier. That power-to-weight ratio is exactly what makes the 490 so special. You get near-professional cutting capability without lugging around a boat anchor. And this is a genuinely professional-grade machine. It's built in Japan. Inside, it uses a magnesium crankcase for lightweight durability and a chrome-plated cylinder to extend engine life. Those are the kinds of materials you find in serious saws, not budget ones. It'll swing 16, 18, or 20-inch bars, so it scales up nicely depending on the job. The feature list is pure Echo. A dual-post chain brake handle for durability, the G-Force Air Pre-Cleaner to reduce filter maintenance, an automatic adjustable clutch-driven oiler, a reduced-effort starter that fires easily hot or cold, and a side-access chain tensioner. Owners tell great stories about this one. One firewood cutter who'd owned Stihls and Huskies over 46 years said he wanted a saw that could handle 6 cords of hardwood a year, mostly oak, and the CS-490 delivered at a pro level. Another was amazed that a 50cc 20-inch saw weighed the same as his old 40cc 18-inch saw. That's the whole pitch. The CS-490 gives you a big saw engine in a mid-saw body, aimed squarely at large landowners, ranchers, and serious firewood cutters who want power they don't have to fight to carry. For the balance of muscle and maneuverability alone, it storms into number 4. Number 3. Echo's CS-800P. Alright, if you came here for raw, unapologetic power, this is your saw. The CS-800P is Echo's largest gas chainsaw, and its most powerful. Full stop. This is the top of the mountain. The number that matters is 80.7 cc. That is a genuinely big bore engine, the kind of displacement you bring out for felling large trees and milling. Echo builds it to swing enormous bars, all the way up to 36 inches, which means you can bury the whole thing in a massive hardwood trunk and keep going. The powerhead alone weighs in around 16.5 pounds, and depending on the setup and bar, it puts out somewhere in the neighborhood of 6+ horsepower. This is not a homeowner saw. This is a saw for people who cut big wood for a living. The 800P has an interesting backstory. It's the evolution of Echo's older CS-8000, and when it came out, Echo redesigned the top end of the engine. Echo's big-bore saws have a reputation among the porting and modding crowd for being torquey and tough, saws that pull hard and keep pulling under load. On chainsaw forums, owners were genuinely debating whether a stock or lightly modified 800P could run in the same league as far pricier professional saws from the big European brands, and doing it at a substantially lower price. That's the CS-800P's real trick. It delivers professional big-bore performance and reliability, but it undercuts the competition on cost, often by hundreds of dollars. For a logger, an arborist doing big removals, or a landowner clearing serious timber, that value proposition is enormous. Is it heavy? Yes. Is it overkill for trimming your hedges? Absolutely. But greatness on this list isn't only about balance and finesse. Sometimes it's about pure, monstrous capability, and nothing else Echo makes hits like the 800P. For being the undisputed heavyweight champion of the entire lineup, it takes number 3. Number 2. Echo CS-620P. So close to the top. The CS-620P is what happens when Echo decides to build a no-compromise professional saw and load it with every feature they've got. When it launched, Echo positioned it as their highest horsepower per displacement chainsaw, and that phrase tells you everything about the engineering philosophy behind it. It runs a 59.8cc professional-grade engine and weighs about 13.7 pounds. From that displacement, Echo squeezes out roughly 4.5 horsepower, and it delivers that power smoothly and immediately. Reviewers who've run it hard describe throttle response that's instant and power that stays steady even under heavy load without the engine bogging down. That kind of clean, well-tuned power delivery is the mark of a properly built saw. But the real story is the build quality. The 620P has a magnesium sprocket cover and a magnesium crankcase, so the structural bones of the saw are lightweight and tough. It uses a digital ignition system that automatically adjusts engine timing for optimum performance. It's got a decompression valve to make the starter rope dramatically easier to pull. It has dual bumper spikes for control when you're driving into a cut, and it uses the G-Force air pre-cleaner, feeding a heavy-duty 2-piece air filter so the engine stays clean and lives long even in filthy conditions. It'll run bars from 16 all the way up to 27 inches, giving it huge versatility across felling, bucking, and firewood work. And Echo backs it with a 5-year consumer warranty. This is a saw designed from the ground up for the arborist, the logger, and the serious firewood professional who runs a saw daily and can't afford downtime. When Echo showed it off, they specifically highlighted it as their answer to the premium features of the big European manufacturers, but at a far more competitive price. That's the whole magic of the 620P, flagship-grade professional engineering without the flagship price tag. For being arguably the finest all-around professional chainsaw Echo has ever built, the CS-620P takes the number 2 spot, and honestly, on another day, it could easily be number 1. Number 1, Echo CS-590, Timberwolf. But the crown goes to the saw that became a genuine icon. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 greatest Echo chainsaw ever built, the CS-590 Timberwolf. Let's talk about why this saw is so beloved. It runs the same 59.8cc professional-grade engine as our number 2, but Echo built the Timberwolf to hit an almost impossible target, professional-grade power, at a price ordinary people could actually afford. It weighs about 13.2 pounds and takes 18, 20, or even 24-inch bars, and it drops the fancier materials in a few places to keep the cost down without touching the thing that matters most, the engine. The result is a machine that punches so far above its price that it developed a reputation all its own. Echo literally calls it the icon, and for once the marketing is right. Independent testers have called it one of the best consumer-level gas chainsaws on the market, describing a saw that with that massive engine and a 20-inch bar practically makes the cuts by itself. It has bare-bones bomb-proof controls, a simple metal switch, a basic choke, a self-priming fuel system. There's very little to break, and what's there is built to take a beating. It's got a decompression valve for easy starts, the G-Force pre-cleaner and toolless heavy-duty air filter, an adjustable clutch-driven oiler, and replaceable bumper spikes. It was first unveiled back in 2013 as the centerpiece of Echo's chainsaw lineup, and it was aimed dead center at the large landowner, the farmer, the rancher, the firewood cutter, and the ambitious homeowner. In other words, the exact people who needed a serious saw but didn't want to spend serious saw money. More than a decade later, the Timberwolf is still in the lineup, still selling, and still winning people over. That kind of staying power is incredibly rare. Ask around and you'll find endless owners who bought one, ran it hard for years, and would buy another in a heartbeat. The CS-590 Timberwolf is #1 because it captures everything great about Echo in a single machine. Real power, brutal reliability, dead simple operation, and a price that feels almost too good to be true. It's not just Echo's best chainsaw. For a whole lot of people, it's the best value in the entire chainsaw world. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these did you think should have been #1? Do you run an Echo? Drop your model in the comments and tell me how it's held up. If this video helped you out, hit that like button, subscribe for more chainsaw breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.